The owner of one of the oldest solar-powered homes is being threatened with eviction. Jerome Johnson, a local Brooklynite living in Flatbush, is fighting to stay in his home. But this is no ordinary home. It boasts some of the first tinkerings to create energy-efficient housing, with solar-powered water heating modules on the roof, solar ovens, walls insulated with recycled materials, and an archive of records dating back decades documenting the entire process. At one point, the building was an informal school where neighborhood kids would come to learn about solar power and the environment. In his living room stands a large and almost unidentifiable machine. When asked about it, Mr. Johnson explains that it's a solar oven with the capacity to pasteurize water. He complains the outbreaks of cholera in Haiti could be prevented with such a machine, since it would eliminate the need for trucking in clean water from far away. He stresses the reason many of his inventions have not taken off are because his focus has been on inexpensive solutions which rely on materials that are usually discarded. And so, there's little money to be made from them. From egg containers glued together to form sheets of insulation, to tuna fish cans soldered together in rows and installed within glass to store heat. The house appears more like a science museum than a residence. He now faces the risk of losing his home. The city claims he owes years of unpaid water taxes and accused him of removing his own water meter. Mr. Johnson insists the building never had a water meter and that the city is making up excuses to confiscate his home. Surviving mostly on Social Security benefits and without the ability to pay for a lawyer, he says his attempts to work out a way to stay in his home have all been unsuccessful. He seems less worried about what will happen to him than to all the valuable history that's being stored in every room, on bookshelves and in boxes. Mr. Johnson will be opening his home on Sunday mornings in August as a way for people to see the building for themselves. He hopes that people will connect with each other and find ways to make use of the building. One possibility is the construction of a greenhouse right in the home with help from upstate farmers. Occupy Brooklyn TV met with Jerome Johnson to hear his story and get a tour of the house. Take a look.
Gets hot, comes out here. So this unit makes this room, which has no heat in the winter, 70 degrees, outside it's 30. But this does it. If you put your hand, you feel it's hot. We're always into this friggin' world where we're living in a world of, whoa, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And government, God bless them, they want you to end up throwing everything out, including your grandma, if you could, because they'd want that apartment so they can end up renovating it to make it a high-tech operation. And me, my reputation was low-tech, hands-on, do-it-yourself. I was nurturing what this old house on Channel 13 was doing. I wrote to them, and we were doing what they were doing around the country. We were making this building, and it was called This Old House. Yeah. So we were taking just a typical old house, showing people what to do every weekend, and the purpose was simple. There's a recession, people are dying, don't have any money. So you're dying and you don't have enough money to make your home energy efficient, but you're going to hire somebody for $3,000 to do it, right? No. You know how to use your hands? You can use a pair of scissors, cut some fiberglass and shove it in the wall. You know how to use plastic? Cut it, put it on the window. Oh, it's not beautiful, but guess what? For the winter, it'll save you fuel. I'd like you to look at a few things only so that you get a basic background. The solar house, this is when I was in the lighting field.
What is this machine?
This is a solar food cooker that I developed for Africa and for Haiti. And I couldn't get any colleges involved with it. I mean, you make phone calls, but you know, I don't have the damn patience to be like a business. I'm not trying to sell it. You think if you can talk to people and you tell them what you're doing, then they're going to send somebody over. Come, you see this. The food goes in here, sits on the shelf. This focuses the heat right here. And it's a takeoff. This is what was at the United Nations.
Umbrella.
This is the food cooker. There's a handle, the tray over here, and it cooks the food. This is what I had them in Africa duplicating. Not as a manufacturing perfection, but any way you could make it. So with the Haitian problem and the other problem in Africa, I came up with another version that could be made anywhere. And as I kept building things, and since nobody had it before, people say, oh, you're an inventor. Oh, you mean when you make something that nobody ever had before, so you invent it? Well, to me, that was just being creative to solve a problem.
Can you tell me what this is?
Stove. A little wood stove.
At a lot of the Occupy camps, people were trying to build these experimental projects to showcase different, energy use
That's right.
activities.
And at a particular meeting, I opened my mouth. We'll capture the heat from the gasoline generators that are making the electricity until they were confiscated. But I figured if we took the exhaust heat and had water warmed by it, then the water could be through a hose laying on the ground into your tent, out to the next tent, so your ground cover and your bedroll on top of the water that's warm would heat you.
Tell us from the beginning again, what is happening to your house? Tell us about how they're going to take away the house and that you want to fight it with all.
I don't know how to fight it anymore. I have no one that you can sit and take a document that you have to even read it anymore. There's so many documents that, and even an attorney, you give it to them, I'll take care of it later. And they're not going to do it. So if they don't want to even read the document, so they get emotionally involved, and therefore they want to fight because they got the actual proof, then it's a game that's going on.
What justification are they giving for taking the house?
They don't have to have a justification. They can take what they want. The sadness is that you're looking at things it's painful. Right there is dated 1898. It's written to my grandfather. It's signed by John Quincy Adams. The whole world is garbage, garbage, garbage. And if there's garbage, let's recycle the garbage.
What do you think about, a movement like Occupy or civil disobedience to stop, the onslaught of oil and climate change? Is that something that you approve of, or you think that is?
I'll tell you what I'm willing to do. You find a place to take these cans that are right up your feet. See them? Bring them to your garage so they're out of this room with a couple of other things, and we'll occupy this house and have all the research work of all these minds. We got an idea, let's do it. Because that's all we were doing here. I didn't end up creating all these. It was the people coming on the weekends. This became an incubator. You came, you're looking around, talking. Did you ever think of doing this? Boom, the blackboard. Jesus, that looks like a good idea.